Hello, this is Baby from Plenty of Fish. Again, we are back in our usual spot in my bedroom. Don't worry, I don't usually do anything weird at all in my bedroom. It's just for sleeping and watching TV. I have no idea how my kids were made.
Oh, really?
Oh wait, I have some idea. The storks deliver them. Yeah. All right, back to the topic. What are we gonna do today? Well, there has been a lot of ups and downs, even though we're only 1 week into the new year. And I have another longer, more complicated, time-consuming video coming very soon. That video has been in the making for 2 weeks now, but it's not quite ready yet. So this week I'm gonna do something more relaxing for myself, or a little bit kind of like a Planty therapy for myself, because you know, the whole migraine situation, long story short, I'm not gonna cover the detail today in this video. What happened was there was part of the inventory lost in the shipment. So I'm in the middle of dealing with that and doing damage control. So since we've been talking and chatting in this plant corner a lot since the beginning of my channel, which was barely a couple months ago, you are familiar with kind of like the backdrop. Today, I kind of want to just take you through this plant display corner and talk about all the plants that's here, including this one. Maybe do a little bit like a walkthrough style plant tour, talk about any new growth, any update, or anything exciting worth mentioning while we do that. I think in order to do that, the best way is probably do in handheld camera. Especially when my face looks like this, I'd rather not show it. Okay, so let's do that. Don't forget to hit subscribe and follow me on Instagram. So this is my favorite #1 plant corner in my house because it houses majority of my house plants, and most of them are my favorite, and also pretty much all of my Hoyas are in this corner. So let's get into the details. Why are you facing backwards? I am so sorry. So yeah, this girl is still uncertain in my book if she is just a Matilled or Matilled Splash. But either way, I love her. She looks great, and seems like ever since the repot, she's been doing fine. The leaves are still pretty firm. I did give her a water the other day, and it doesn't seem like any more rot is developing. So I hope that means we're on the road towards recovery. And I just have her in this metal hanger, you know, coming all the way down from the ceiling. And down here, I have this very pretty moon chime, not chime, like this charm thing that also serves as a sun catcher. When the sun hits this part in the afternoon, it creates the rainbow effect on the white wall. It's really beautiful. Not trying to push any of my product, but I do sell this one. Everything is still kind of in the initial inventory stage. I don't have them listed yet, but they're coming to my shop very soon. I only sell stuff that I like personally too. So behind this, I have my Mandula pothos that I also featured in my top 10, wait, was it top 10? No, top 7 variegated plants. This Mandula has been growing pretty well. Sorry if the grow light's kind of bright here. These are the little Sansi clip-on grow light that I recently just got for some, you know, VIP plants that need their own personal grow light because they're little divas. Now, I'm not trying to say this Mandula is diva. I'm just personally a little, I'd say, traumatized from growing any type of pothos due to my past. And at the beginning of growing this guy, it still gave me a little bit of scare because it was dropping some leaves. Certain leaves were getting a little yellow. Like, I'm not sure if you can tell from this one. This was one of the original leaves. It's also kind of yellowing, but I'm not as worried anymore because I think it's just something that comes with, you know, oops, plants acclimating to your environment. The bottom leaves are gonna drop, things like that, because it's been pushing out new growth pretty consistently. They're slightly on the smaller side compared to the original leaves, but that's okay for me right now. But also something interesting to notice here is the original variegation were very white, but the newer ones are more cream and almost yellow looking. I think that has something to do with the lighting. I believe they will receive higher light in their previous environment, and that is why I got the Sansi clip-on light for it, to see if that will make a difference. And right underneath that one is my Pilea. Is this one called White Splash? Yes, it's a type of variegated Pilea. I believe there are other types like the, what's that, the mint one? And there's also the sugar. I'll put their names here on the screen for you, but the only type I like is the White Splash. The other type of variegation, they're all kind of like meh in my opinion. So I do like the variegation on this guy, but it's honestly one of those plants that I consider a diva actually. That is also why I got it. It's personal grow light as well, even though there's a grow light right next to it, but I want that one pointing towards the Mandula and this one pointing towards the Pilea. So like you can see some of the older leaves were sort of doing this and certain leaves were dropping, and it's starting to do that very infamous bare bottom thing with Pilea. So I don't want that to continue, and the new growth were looking kind of like, you know, not so great. So I got a grow light to see if that will make a difference, but so far no sign of rot, so I guess we're still good. Yeah, moving on to the right side. We can start from the lower part because my arm's very tired from holding this camera already. Oh, by the way, I got a new gimbal, and this gimbal makes everything so much smoother when I, you know, move around like this. But also at the same time it adds weight, so it's a lot harder to hold it for a longer period of time. But anyway, that's my daily workout now. All right, so the first plant that we are looking at here is my Hoya wait, is it sunset or sunrise? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Okay, I'll put it on the screen here. So it's this guy here that has very pretty sun stressing color, and this one absolutely sun stresses beautifully and it prefers higher light. So far this one in my care has been growing really well, and you can see it has a lot of the sign of sun stressing. I really like when the sun stresses, you can see the venation a lot clearer. But we don't have any flowers on this one yet. The one next to it here is Hoya australis Lisa. One of my older plants also one of the plants that's had all kinds of different pests. Even very recently, I found green aphids on it. And in the past, this is also the one that got attacked by mealybugs. I think that's when I first got it. It probably came with the mealybugs, and then they start growing. However, the funny thing is this plant never seemed to care when it has pests. And I don't know if the green aphids did any damage to these new growth. Possibly. They look kind of warped, but they're also very new, so we'll have to wait and see. Even if that's the case, it has been an ease to treat pests on this plant. You kind of just, use your whatever pest control solution of your choice and spray it down and wipe the leaves. And I did it like 2-3 times over the course of 2 weeks, and it seems like nothing ever, none of the pests have returned. And yeah, the rest of the plant's still growing, still pushing on new leaves when it was under attack by pests both times. So in my opinion, it's a very easygoing, fast-growing Hoya. And when the new leaves first come out, they're this very bright red, and it doesn't even require that high of light to achieve this bright red. So that's great. And this plant doesn't really trail. If you like the trailing plants, those style of Hoya, you're not gonna like this one. It kind of almost grow in like a little bush sort of pattern, similar to multiflora. Can't even talk today. Similar to multiflora, the shooting star Hoya. I have it on this clear U-shaped trellis, and I like it, and I'll insert an image here on the screen to show you the kind of look I want it to achieve eventually. I want to grow this into something like that. Yeah, and that's why I kept it on this trellis. Ooh, now we're getting low enough so I can sit on the floor. Ah, this feels nice. Okay, the one next to it is one of the oldest residents as well. It is my Hoya Crimson Queen. It's the Carnosa Crimson Queen. It's basically the Hoya Carnosa outer variegated variety. And one of the best feature about this Hoya is when you get these all white leaves, not only did they first come out pink and looking very beautiful, super cute, and adds to, layers of color dimension to the whole plant, but also this plant does a great job keeping those white leaves alive for a long period of time. As far as I can remember, this stem that has all these white leaves has been on here for month and month. I don't even know how long they've been here, and there's no sign of them dying. And once in a while, you're gonna see maybe a few browning white leaves dropping, and that's okay because new ones are gonna come out. And like here, this one is also all white, but you can see there's some browning on this one, but yeah, that's fine. There's some more here, some with very little green variegation, and some stems will have, certain green variegations on some leaves, and some leaves will have nothing. And you know what I'm saying, I'm just kind of repeating myself here. So yeah, it's a very, very beautiful outer variegated plant. I have it on a like a circle shaped clear trellis here. I have not had this plant bloom for me yet, but I am very excited to see that happen. This one, I'm gonna butcher the name for sure. It is Hoya Ganungading, that one. And do you see this red color? This sunstress is something else. I don't have any other Hoya that sunstresses to this degree. And when I first got this plant, this is the picture. Yes, it was already sunstressed. It was already beautiful, like this autumn sort of leaf vibe. But then I put it in my very normal lighting setup. It's not like any light directly shining on it. It turned into this. So I say this is probably one of my easiest sunstressed Hoya. And so far, it only has these 4 leaves that it came with. It hasn't given me any new growth. And actually, unfortunately, when I first got it and trying to put it on the trellis, because the stem is super, super stiff on this Hoya, it broke here. But it's not too big of a loss because the rest of it was just a bare stem runner. There were no leaves on it. And speaking of being stiff, the leaves of this Hoya are very, very rigid as well. There's no give to it. It's like hard plastic almost. It doesn't even feel real. And the venation is wow. Like that's my favorite thing about this Hoya. I don't have any other Hoya looking like this. And before I got this one, I bought this one in the store in person. When I saw it, I'm like, this is exactly what I need in my collection, because I was actually looking for a black cat. I'll insert the full name here. I was looking for that Hoya. And when I saw this one, this has all the features I was looking for in the black cat Hoya, but this one's better because of the sun stressing is just so extreme, and I get to see it in person, so I'm very happy I found this. It's a plant I'm a little sad about. This is my shooting star Hoya multiflora, outer variegated in the back. I mentioned this Hoya as one of my favorite variegated plant in my previous video. Unfortunately right now, I don't know, for whatever reason, looks like it's kind of struggling a little bit. You see all these leaves here are kind of yellowing, right? But I don't know why. I really don't understand what I'm doing wrong. When I first got this plant, it was like nonstop pushing out new growth one after another, but then it stopped. And then the bottom of the plant, do you see all these bare stems? It started dropping all those leaves. At first I thought, okay, older leaves, they're gonna get dropped. Nothing, no big deal, right? But then the top leaves start getting yellow. I am gonna look into it more. I don't think it's pests. So I don't think it's lighting because it's right underneath a grow light. Is it too much light? I don't know if anybody has experience with this plant, but I'm gonna try to dig into it. Possibly I might need to mess with the roots to see if they're rots, because due to what happened to the Matilda, I'm a little paranoid. Hoya verticillata? Yeah, verticillata. And it is actually a cultivar from China. So it has a Chinese name, Yangzhi, and Yangzhi is a type of jade in Chinese. So yeah, I really like this Hoya and its variegated versions. I mean, okay, the name Yangzhi only refers to the variegated version of this particular verticillata, and the name actually, in my understanding, refer to both the outer and inner variegated. So in this pot here, oops, sorry, I actually have both of them. On the right here is a very small inner variegated plant, and on the left is this much bigger outer variegated plant. I want to show you these two newer leaves. They are so much bigger than the original leaves that it came with. Can you see that? And I believe it's because it's right under this grow light here. And all of these grow lights I use on these wall shelves are the Barrina Grow Light. And I do have a affiliated link in my description. No pressure to use it or even check it out. At this point, I believe everybody that's into plant has a Barrina light. I'm glad for you because they are very good and affordable. And yeah, so that is the Hoya verticillata variegata and alba marginata. I'm not even sure if those names are accurate. I'm just pretending to act like I know things, okay? And next to that is a very cute little pin. I have this pin in a very cute little turtle planter. And I don't really know the particular name of this type of pin. I'm very bad with pinguicula. Oh my god, I'm very bad with pinguicular names, but yeah, they're just all pins to me, different kinds. They're all great, and they are little vicious killer that kills fungus gnats. Can I find one? Like those little black dots that refuse to focus, they're fungus gnats, and they're eating them, digesting them. And I have a little flower here. Yeah, that's another super cute thing about these pins is they have the cutest purple flowers. Most of them have purple flowers for some reason. I don't know, just different shades of purple. Ah, my hand. Yeah, this gimbal is very heavy. Next to that is my sad but recovering elbow, oh my god, Hoya Polinera elbow marginata. We're not gonna talk too much about that one. And let's focus on this beautiful plant that we've talked about before. And one thing I changed about it is I put it in this new self-watering pot. And again, not doing advertisement for my own shop, but this is the main product I'm going to be selling in my shop because I personally love the self-watering pot. It comes with a wick like this. Inner pot are clear, has a lot more room for potting mix, root growth, and they are made very well made. And they're matte finish on the outside. This is the cream color, small size. So this is my Hoya mini bell and mini bell splash that we have seen before too in my Planty chore video. So nothing too much going on. I just changed its position several times in my collection. But oh wait, there is something going on. Oh my God. There is a new leaf coming. That is very exciting. And it's coming from the splashy part. So I have two plants in this. If you haven't watched my previous video or you skipped that part, that's totally fine. I have the normal green form mini bell and also the splash form. So here the new growth is coming from the splash one. And I can never remember the name, so I'm gonna put a name on the screen. It is one of my, I would say one of my random purchase. I was kind of like just browsing on Etsy and bought it on a whim, and I'm very glad I got it because this plant grows so easily and it is very beautiful. It has these veiny, splashy leaves. What else to say about it? And oh yeah, it's been constantly growing and there's some new growth here. Doesn't require much care, it just does its own thing. And I will put a picture of a more mature, like meaning a bigger plant here, and look at that. Like, isn't that just wonderful? I really like this kind of pot and, you know, foliage color pairing. When you have a terracotta, good old terracotta pot with the darker foliage, it just creates this very, very nice color combination, if you know what I mean. And next to that are two very exciting Hoyas. As you can tell, I'm obsessed with Hoya Polyneura because I have 4 different varieties of them. I have the green form I've shown, I have the very sad Alba Marginata, and I recently got the Brogette. It's just a 2-leaf cutting. And when it first came here, it did have a new growth on it, but it's sort of, you know, sometimes in transit, the new growth will get aborted. That's totally normal. And I'm waiting to see when the new growth is gonna, the next new growth point is gonna get activated. After a long time waiting, I decided to get myself a Polyneura inner variegated. And I got a pretty grown out big plant. Well, for anyone out there that's gonna judge me on how expensive this plant is, please don't. I do not care, okay? So I do intend to, after the plant's established in my collection, I do intend to also take cuttings and propagate more of this plant to list in my shop. I want to spread the love and also, you know, make a few bucks here and there to support my hobby. This one is my green form Hushkiliana. It bloomed quite a bit at the beginning of winter, but it sort of just stopped. But the growth has not stopped at all. It just constantly push out new growth. Even now that I have moved it up to the top shelf where you can see this pendant grow light hands down like this. So the light rarely hits it at all. And then during the day, I have this west facing window. So there's some lights bouncing off of the white wall and hitting it, but it's not getting really high light in any ways, but it's still growing perfectly fine. And next to it is my good old friend, Hoya linearis, one of my favorite Hoya, one of my oldest Hoya, but this plant and I has been through a lot. I have had to cut it back all the way, chop it up to pieces maybe 3 times already because it constantly rot on me. And this time seems like it's going well after I rerooted the whole plant, and it's continued to grow and pushing out new growth nonstop. And I have heard that linearis actually can live in lower lighting, and I'm just trying something new this time. So I put it up on the top shelf where the light is not the most extreme to see if it will continue to grow. Seems like it's still doing that and it's growing just fine. You see those like little pieces sticking out, the crazy hair day type of new growth on top. That's what we love to see on the Nereus. All right, now we can come back to talk about the right side. We'll start from the top and go to the bottom. I kind of call this side my gothy plant side because everything is sort of dark or silvery or purple or pink, you know, in that sort of color family. This is also one of my oldest Hoya in the collection. It's the Lacunosa Royal Flush. I don't know if you can tell, it has reverted quite a bit. Lacunosa Royal Flush is supposed to have a lot of silver splash, but half of the plant has pretty much completely reverted to green. There's like, I believe this half of the plant still has a bit of the silver on it. And there's some cuttings I took from this plant that I propagated and has grown into their own little plants. They're showing more silver. So I plan to list those on my shop and sell them. Originally, I was just gonna sell this whole plant to someone because I was sort of falling out of love with this plant because how much it's reverting, but it's a very easy growing Hoya and it smells so nice when it blooms. So for that reason alone, I just can't seem to bring myself to part with it. The one next to it is the Hoya Bella inner and outer variegated that we've also talked about in previous videos, and it's been growing nonstop. Of course, the two long lines that you see here are all the outer variegated. They grow much faster. Oops, sorry. Than the inner variegated side. You can see this is the outer variegated, this is the inner variegated. The inner variegated side is taking its time. I'm sure putting it in this corner doesn't really help. We'll probably have to, figure something out for this plant, but I don't mind the slightly slower growth pace and I like it there, so we'll leave it there for now. And now we can talk about this one a little bit, huh? My Solanum Ulianum. If I said it wrong, I'm so sorry. This is my nightshade plant, and I can't tell you enough how much I love it. I mentioned in my plant tag that this is my favorite plant of 2025, and it still is. I still stand true by that statement because it's just so easy to grow, even though it looks so alien and so Gothic. And a lot of people say, oh, this is a terrarium plant, but trust me, it grows in my room humidity just fine. Like, let me show you. The humidity here right now is 57, not even that high. And yes, I do have the humidifier on during the day, so the humidity can easily reach above 65, but I don't consider that super high humidity. This plant can totally live outside of a cabinet of terrarium just fine. I recently took some cutting from it, so that's why it's not looking as bushy as it was a couple days ago, but from where I took the cutting, there are already new growth coming out. There's one over there and one over here. So I'm also going to show you the little cutting I took from the plant right here. When I first took the cutting, they were like very droopy. This plant does get very droopy when it's underwatered. Same thing with the cuttings. When it was just cut from the mother plant, they became very droopy, but as soon as I put them into these perlite and filled it with some water, maybe till about here, they start absorbing the water from the perlite directly and perked it right back up. And I want to actually see, oh yeah, it's already rooting, because to check if a propagation has rooted, you can just gently tug on the plant, the propagation. If there's a little bit of resistance, that means it's starting to root. Wonder if we can see anything. I think it's still too early to see. Yeah, I plan to pot this back into the mother plant very soon. Just look how dark and purple and beautiful this is. Yeah, this is gonna be this iconic plant in my goth corner. And next to it is my Hoya serpents. My serpents growing really well. When I first got this plant, I thought it's gonna be a diva, but it's probably one of the easiest Hoya. Like, it's not, okay, I wouldn't say it grows the fastest, okay? But it's definitely constantly growing nonstop and doesn't seem to be too picky about light. I have moved this one about in several different locations, higher light, medium light, lower light, doesn't seem to care, it just always grows. And I think In spring, I am going to take more cuttings and pot it back into the mother plant to make it even fuller, because this has already grown so much from, you know, this picture here. That's what it looked like when I first got it. I have it in this, my makeshift self-watering setup. I took one of the insert pot from the self-watering pot. I put it in this, you know, slightly cuter little thing here. And on the side, I have a very exciting update on my Venom plantlet. So when I first received this plant, of course, it's in one of those self-watering pots that I sell as well. It's in the color black here and in my DIY pot. When I, oh no, I keep on getting the tip of the leaf caught in between the cover pot and the insert, because it's just, you know, so long. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, the shape change of this plant. When I first received it, I had maybe 2 leaves. They were all like juvenile leaves looking like this. And this was the first leaf that grew in my care. It's sized up decently, right? And it's starting to give me more silver. And also the bottom is starting to get longer, like that stingray shape. And this is the most recent new leaf. Holy moly. Can you see that? It is already taking on this mature form of the very famous, oh my god, I almost said Hoya venom, alocasia venom. It's completely silver, and it is this super alien looking stingray leaf. Like, look from the back, like that's kind of the shape. I am extremely excited about the growth of this plant and how big the next leaf is going to be, because now we know the plant has already reached maturity for it to push out this mature form leaf. So I think from now on, it's only up from here. Fingers crossed. Yeah, definitely one of my best purchase last year. Next to that is here on this stand, we already know my very big, beautiful purpley that I talked about in my tag. And this plant is currently finally working on its very first new leaf in my care. I can't really get it to focus in this corner because it's a little bit dark, but it's this one here, yeah. So that's going to be the first new leaf in my care. I have a little suspicion it might come out kind of janky, but I don't really care because I did put it through a lot when I first got it, right? When it settled into my environment, sometimes things like that could happen. So even if it's slightly janky, even if it's smaller size than this one, I'm going to be okay with it as long as it's established, it's growing. Underneath that, I have my purple passion plant that I mentioned in one of my shorts. That became, I think probably in my recent videos, the highest viewed shorts ever, because I mentioned how this plant has very stinky flower that smells like a men's sweaty t-shirt. And I swear by my words that it's completely true. That's exactly what they smell like. And it's such a random smell, and it's awful. Underneath here, I have this little skull pot. Inside, I have the Hoya Thomsonii. I don't really know what color flower this one has. This fuzzy little Hoya is very hard to come by, at least in my region, but I was able to find one on Etsy from one of my favorite Etsy shop, and I was very happy when I got it. Even though it's a little small, it's a very healthy plant that is already starting to grow new leaf in my environment. I will have to wait and see what color flower this one has. The next plant moving on from here is my Hoya, what's it called? Paprika? Oh my god, paprika. I can never say this name correctly, so I'll put it on the screen. And this is the silver ghost pink. Yeah, I'm definitely butchering this name so hard right now, but that's the silver variegated version, which in this case, the leaf also turns very pink when it's sun-stressed. It's sun-stressed pretty easily and turn into this grayish, purplish pink, and it's very unique. So it looks so different than the non-variegated plant. That's one thing I like about this variegated version. So now we're moving on to this corner here, closer to the floor space here, you can see I have some of the bigger or more spread out plants down here. First thing you might notice is I have a bigger dragon scale, alocasia dragon scale here. Well, long story short, I do have another dragon scale. If you've watched one of my first few videos, I think it's the top 10 variegated plants, I kind of briefly mentioned this plant who was sitting in the background at the time. And I briefly mentioned that this plant was not doing well, regardless of being one of my oldest plant in my collection. Yeah, so my patience sort of ran out, even though that plant currently is still growing. The new leaf looks like it might be a decent size. So in conclusion, yes, I am impatient. So I went ahead and got another one of these. And this one is more of what dragon scale is supposed to look like in my understanding. I always get those dragon scale that has that sort of like a narrow, like a weird pinched shape at the waist. I don't know what else to call it. Like this one here, like I'll show you an image. So I always get those type of dragon scales. I mean, I've only gotten one, but I've seen them in the Etsy search when I look for dragon scale in Etsy, because I consider buying this plant again, but I always see that kind of leaf shape and I wasn't really interested. And also another problem with the dragon scale that I have is that they don't have this color, like this darker, almost like a blue cool tone-ish gray color on it. Like, yes, the newer leaf looks like this, like more dragon scale looks like this color, right? But the hardened leaves look like that. And that is the type of dragon scale I want. And in my head, I think dragon scale is supposed to look like that. So I don't know, are there different variations out there? I have no idea, but I'm so glad this is the, this dragon scale that I received this time is exactly what I wanted about this one this time. Moving on here, I also have this Begonia Fador. I have no idea how to pronounce it again. And this begonia has these pretty decent sized large silver leaves with dark veination in the middle, and then it has pink flowers. So when I received this plant, it was from Green Escape, one of the I think the bigger Etsy store that a lot of YouTubers have bought plants from before. They're known for their starter plants. I got this one as a mature 6-inch pot. However, there were a lot of hiccups during shipping, and I'm not unfamiliar with how begonias can be finicky during shipping, but they arrived in very rough shape. But I was able to get a partial refund on this plant because it was still alive, and essentially, I mean, okay, in the end, I was able to bring it back to health myself. I started by cutting down all the damaged leaves, and I started with, I think, 2 leaves left, and I grew all of the leaves you see here are leaves grew in my care. I have already since cut off the older leaves that started to crisping on the edge. So yeah, this plant, I would say in my room humidity, my setup at home, they grow very easily. And this begonia is a Rex begonia, so you're gonna see the stem kind of growing like horizontally along the surface of the soil. So I think this one's gonna start to grow out of, you know, space very soon. But yeah, I don't think it's hard to keep, and it doesn't require higher than average humidity. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. And down here is my, oh God, the last few plants are all plants I can't really pronounce their name very well, huh? This is the, I'm gonna try very hard, Calathea. Okay, my husband said they're called Calathea, so I'm gonna say Calathea Wacharia, something start with W, okay? It's the velvety one. So I think it also has a common name known as the jungle velvet, something like that. And it is really, really, oh my God, it's so velvety. It's actually the bottom of this plant feels so nice. I mean, yes, the top is velvety, but the bottom just feels so smooth, so silky. I don't know what it is with this plant, but it just feels so good to touch it. And I really like the pattern on the leaves. It's, I wouldn't say it's the most unique plant ever, but certainly my favorite Calathea plant. Currently, I only have 2 Calathea left in my collection. I used to have more, I think 5 when I had the most, but I got rid of 3 of them due to like non-stop pest issue with them, mostly spider mites. Now I have this one, and I also have the Calathea musica. I have no idea. I'm showing you guys how bad I am at pronouncing plants names today. So I'll pop a picture here and the name. So that's the other Calathea I have, and these two are both my favorite for very different reasons. And this is the one living in my bedroom, right next to the humidifier also. So other than that, I think, oh yeah, now that's the last one. I think I've mentioned this plant before, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I have moved my Florida Ghost back here because I just love looking at it. Well, I almost forgot there's this guy here too. It is just a good old golden pothos that I'm trying to grow right next to my bedroom window on this hanger. My thing with pothos in general, like I've mentioned already before, that I keep on killing pothos, right? And this one has been fine in my care. It's not dying, but once in a while it will give me one of these yellowing leaves. Do you guys know if it's just the plant getting rid of older leaves, or is there something I'm doing wrong? Because other than that, this plant is doing fine. And I've checked the roots, they're fine, because I have all of them in clear pots, so I can monitor the roots at all time. Other than occasionally giving me yellow leaves, they are doing great, including my Mondula pothos right here. I have to cut off several bottom leaves too due to yellowing, but it is constantly growing still. So I don't know, why do pothos always give yellow leaves? Do you know? I looked up online and the only answer I could find was overwatering. I mean, I'm already holding back on watering on all my pothos at this point because I'm so scared of drowning them. But when their leaves start drooping, right, when they really need water, you can't hold off anymore. And I'm definitely not underwatering. I know that for sure. And I also kind of wrapped the top. There's a vine up there. It was starting to grow upwards, so I start to guide it towards the chain. So now it's starting to climb up. That's pretty cool. And this window is west facing, so it received a ton of light in the afternoon, and I think the plant is loving it, other than the yellowing part. So yeah, I believe that's all for my bedroom plants. So that's it for today's video. I am not in the same setup anymore. I filmed the last portion of the walkthrough tour and also this outro on a totally different day. Due to the fact that I am raising human beings on the side. So yeah, so that explains why the setting is completely different, and excuse the messy bed because it's actually almost bedtime. I am about to head over to my office and edit this video so I can post it on time. I'm really trying to stay on time because I don't want to be that person. This is another week, I'm gonna be late. Oh, I'm gonna have to skip another week. I know everybody understands life happens, because this at the end of the day is just YouTube. It's online, it's not your real life. But I want to respect everybody that is supporting me, especially when I'm at this beginning stage of my YouTube journey. So anyway, thank you so much for staying till the end of the video as usual. And if you are new here, I want to say hello and welcome to the Planty of Fish family again. And I hope by this point you have hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't done so, please also like this video so the algorithm god will love me. Anyway, I hope you're gonna have a wonderful week and happy Monday, and stay healthy and keep planting. Bye bye.